we're here again, and it's the roller time.
Set up your mat, make sure it's very, very straight. You only need the roller and maybe a head cushion for the first part of lying on your roller. When I lay the roller on the ground, make sure it's straight on the mat and take my head cushion with me simply so that I know how to centre the body. With the sitting position on the roller as your starting place, the same principles apply. You sit right at the bottom end of your roller, laying your feet up with something that's actually straight, okay? And then you can lay the spine down, synchronising the alignment and the pelvis, placing every part of the spine. Use the head cushion under the head. If the head cushion doesn't stay on, that's because your head's too far back. Ken, you may struggle, but hey, I think we've got it all worked out. I'm going to walk my heels a little bit further and I can glance down and see my thigh bones as parallel, and I feel everything level on the between the shoulder blades, right the way down the spine and to the lower back. The first part of release has to be the breathing muscles allowing you to melt in the direction of the roller and find that sense of letting go. So you're breathing deeply in through the nose and an exaggerated breath out through the mouth. Breathing in through the nose as deep and wide as we've been learning, and the exhaling, allowing the body to feel imprinting. Imprint is simply where the shape of your spine, the shape of the bones of the rib cage, the shape of the sacrum takes on a sensation as knowing where the floor is and printing on it, okay? A couple more of those deep breaths in and out. You can't actually release anywhere if your setup is all braced. You're allowing the roll to make you feel a natural sway. That natural sway invites the nervous system to recalibrate and center you. We're now ready for some baby tilting. If you want to put your thumb to your rib cage, fingertips to your hip bones, you'll breathe in as you prep. On the breathing out, as your rib cage comes down, your pelvic tilt, the lower back to an imprint using pelvic floor. You've now brought these two landmarks together, the hip bones and the last rib. Breathe into your lumbar spine here and exhaling, feel the flow of the roll away of the pelvis. Inhaling. And pelvic floor. Remember, the workout today is not to create lots of tension. We've had that all week. The workout today is to leave you feeling more mobile and hydrated than you have been all week. Inhaling and exhaling. Ribs and pelvic tilt. Do one more. Go into your own little world of sensing and knowing what's going on. Breathe. Your breathing muscles are the first thing you need to get a sense of, and where they take you with the breath out, how you can hold with the breath in, and where you end up on the next breath out. Moving on then, have your arms by your sides, know where your heels are, breathe in. We've got the ab prep, so you'll nod the chin in, breath out, and you'll slide up towards your thigh bones. If they're not as close as you want them, the closer the better, then do that now. Breathe in. And then breathing out, roll the spine down. If your head cushion went where you need it, then by all means pick it back up. Inhaling. Exhale is the chin nod. And you find yourself, you're in imprint, and you're rolled to the high waist of the rib cage. You breathe in, you breathe out, and you're eccentrically allowing the spine to go down. We've got 3 more of these. Remember, make these the biggest breaths you can. Refuse to round your shoulders. And the sensation of drawing this hip bone back is what the internal oblique's about. Exhaling. Yes, I'm in gentle imprint. My ribs and my hip bones are trying to find each other. When I get up here, I get the sense of one side of my internal oblique working harder than the other, and that's because one side is weaker than the other. Breathing in. And that's the kind of information you're trying to pick up. Everything about this is deep internal core work. There's nothing kind of demanding on the legs or the arms, and the breathing muscles are working the hardest. This is your last one. Spinal, chin nod, thoracic rolling to just below the scapula. Think where the bra is. Men, just imagine you're wearing one. Inhaling and exhaling, laying the spine down. With the spine down, my head cushion went. I'm going to put it back again because I want to do a quick shoulder release, although there's nothing quick about what I want to do. I'm going to do shoulders. You're going back into neutral. Remember, neutral is that place where the sacrum is flat, and if you could monitor the pubic bone and the two hip bones, the ACIS, they will be triangularly horizontal to the ceiling, and the lower back, and when I mean the lower back, that's below the waistband, has that fractional gap, Malteser or minstrel, depending on posture type, and your rib cage, high waist, is down. Now that you've got that idea, exhaling, you're going to pull the ribs down and slowly float your arms out sideways, keeping them in peripheral vision. Breathe in, let gravity be held almost by them to get the stretch. Breathe out again as your ribs come down. In other words, you empty of air, place the ribs, and your arms are going to come back up again. Your shoulder blades stabilise in neutral, inhaling and exhaling. As your arms go wider, pull up on pelvic floor. Imagine the hip bones tightening from left to right, right to left. You have two more just here. Tune in now to the shoulder blades and then the spinal column between them. It should be completely against the roll that you're laying on. Breathe in and exhaling as though you're lifting gravity, as though it has a weight. It does have, you just have to visualise it having more weight. All right, the next time as you go down, we're going to stay down to work. Make sure you can see your hands in peripheral vision. Then I'm going to turn palms facing away from your shoulder. We're adding curling up now, so breathe in, exhale and curl. Stay in neutral if you can. Breathe in, breathe out and return back down. You want to be strong breath from the armpit, side, rib cage, pelvic floor, navel to spine, chin nod, treating the spine as it deserves to be treated and treating your core with an invitation to work without bracing. Inhaling and down. I'm staying in neutral. Breath out. Armpits, gather the air between my arms and then into my thighs, into my waist, and inhaling and down. Moving on from there, breathe in. Hands are on the floor. Make fingertips. We often talk about as though you have a tennis ball under your hand. I've got that fingertip connect. Exhale then and find your pelvic imprint again. So I've used pelvic floor, navel to spine, and pick up your right leg to tabletop. Breathe in. Breathing out, curl up and stay. Nose to navel, breathe in. Breathe out and slow motion, exchange the legs to tiptoe balance now with one foot to the floor. Breathe out and switch again. Breathe in, pelvic floor, hollow the abdominals, zip up and hollow. Whatever language works for you. But please don't move with a braced middle. A brace is a movement pattern with no breath. And a brace never changed anyone. Relax your jawline. Next time, both legs come to tabletop and you can place your head down again. Okay, people, we're just about there as our warm-up. I just want to condition abs. You're in tabletop. You can fingertip your hands. You feel for symmetry again. You know that you're symmetrical at the pelvis when both knee joints are level. Inhaling, hold your tabletop imprint. Breath out, push your legs away into straight legs and then point your toes. Inhaling, flow down into flexion and tabletop. Breathe out. As you pull your abdominals down, send your legs up. Okay, inhaling, heels down. Let's add curling up. Exhale, as I start to curl up, I'll send the legs away, pull the thighs together. Inhale, I'll flex at the ankle, knee and hip and roll down. I'm staying in imprint. Exhaling, the rib cage rolls to imprint the high waist, create increased demand on the front abdominal area, obliques, and back down. Exhaling, inhaling, folding, And it's your last one. Exhale. So this is like a gentle warm-up for the breathing muscles, the trunk stabilizers, and your mind. Taking one leg down and then the other. Let the feet go a little bit wider than is hip width apart, and then allow the thighs to open out. So as you let the hips open out, you can allow your arms to open out. In this shape here, go back to breathing to release. Obviously, if it's sore on your pelvic area, have your legs straighter. That's just about everything being tight. Whichever position for you allows there to be another relaxation moment, allowing the skeletal form of you to lose some of its stress and realign, then it's great. All right, to come off your roller, slide off sideways, and we're ready for the really exciting stuff. You don't need your head pad for this next part, although actually you could use it. I could become really quite complex, but I'm not going to. The roller, this is the genius for mobilising and stability. First thing to do in finding your place on this roller in this going across your upper back. So my roller is going across where the base of the scapula is, shoulder blade, or across where the bra is. It's like mid-thoracic. It's not high waist, it's definitely kind of mid-thoracic area. And if I pull my shoulder blades down, I can hit the the lower corner of it against the roller. I feel comfortable, I feel I know where I am, I know where my sit bones are. The reason you have to work all this out is because you never get an effective range of movement, stretching, releasing, if you're trying to get the movement from the wrong part of the body. The movement for this part of the body is to extend, and I can pull the roller under me. That feels lovely and kind of extends me, stretches me, lengthens me. I breathe into it, and as I breathe out, the sensation of pushing against the roller and finding myself back with my nose pointing between my thighs. So your hands, thighs, hands, head, I breathe in. Exhale and melt, just start to go down. I end up looking at the ceiling. Inhale to take yourself as far as your body naturally goes. Don't force anything. I'm cradling the skull in my hands to make sure it doesn't go too much into the top part of the neck. When I inhale here, I stretch everything laterally and frontal. And then as I breathe out again, I start to nod the chin. I pull against the roller. The roller can fractionally move as I end up finding myself into flexion in a lovely way. My bum doesn't lift, my sit bones stay still, and I'm moving the roller under me, creating extension of the spine, where the spine is to bent forwards. Breathe in, and then breathing out, feel for the roller, and see if you can start working with that roller as a roller. It's both a piece of equipment to template the extension, the rolling backwards over it, but it's also rolly, 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 and allows you to create a connection rolling it. I would say my roller's kind of doing about almost a 180-degree roll and a reverse roll. Okay, moving on. We've hydrated, mobilised and centred the upper thoracic area into the high waist. We're now interested in the pelvic to lumbar area. Heels are on the floor, thigh bones level. I'm still keeping my hands behind my skull, lengthening my neck. Go into pelvic floor to pelvic tilt. This is lumbar pelvic rhythm stuff. As you then roll through the lumbar into an imprint, we often see it as a hip roll at the studio. Pubic bones and hip bones are now square. I've lengthened from my waist all the way down to my tailbone. Breathe into the roller, and then breathing out, come back in reverse, which is your rib cage, through the lumbar and into pelvic neutral. Breathe in again. Exhaling, you've got your pelvic floor. You can watch the pelvic mobilising effect as the pelvis lifts to its highest point and makes you feel flat from the rib to the pelvis. You breathe in. You breathe out. Try not to let the thighs go wandering. I just noticed mine were. And you'll come back down again. The beauty of being able to get up there this next time is we're going to stay and roll the shoulders. So same principles for setup. Breathe in to prepare, breathe out to pelvic floor, internal oblique flex, into what would effectively be like a straight line. Breathe in. Exhaling, pull yourself forwards, in other words, your knees pull over your ankles. Breathe in, breathe out, and push yourself backwards. Now we roll over the scapula, over the mid back area to the upper back. And if you're breathing in and out and staying heavy, you'll get what's known as a myofascial connective tissue moment. If you don't breathe, you get nothing but the sensation of someone giving you a massage. But breathe in and out, and you will hydrate yourself, reaching cellular structures that are much deeper than you can imagine. And even if you don't understand the science, do it. All right. Next time you find yourself back where the tip of the scapula is, breathe in, breathe out, look to your knees, and return your spine back down. If you feel you need to move on that roller, move, but you definitely want to have it so that you're not resting on your shoulder blades now. We've got rotation. You need to know where the pelvis is. It's largely centered, but you're not bracing it. Breathe in, hold the breath out, roll to me on the screen, just roll. Stay there, you'll find your underneath armpit, forearm, upper arm on the roller. This arm's up here, breathe in again, and then breathe out and cinch the waist in, getting into the armpit area at the back of the shoulder. Breathe in just here, breathe out and go back through the center, staying heavy on that roller. Ready for the other side. Use a breath out to roll into the side of the rib cage armpit. Have a huge breath in here, breathe out and create more rotation. Breathe in and then breathe out and come back. Okay, next time you come towards the screen or me, straighten out the opposite leg. So I'm rolling over to my right, but I've straightened out my left leg. I breathe in. Exhaling, I'm going to roll over till I line up my upper arm with the roller. I'm then going to take my arm, my left arm over and breathe. Inhaling and exhaling. My emphasis can only tell you that the inhale and exhale is deep into the sides of you that's nearest the roller. So all of those lobes, breathing, oxygenated, emphasis. Every breath out should allow you a little bit more reach, opening out through the facet joints and everything side rib cage, everything thoracic spine. No shearing forces, nothing in the lower back. And the breath is a massaging type of connection. And you're going to get ready, return back. It should feel lovely and hot there. Now, ready to go to the other side. You'll straighten out the leg that's furthest away from the screen. Breathe in deeply. You have to breathe. Breathe out and imagine the air pulling you down to the roller until you find yourself with your upper arm against the roller. Breathe in again, down to the roller, and exhale. And take your right arm. So this side I'm so much tighter. That means I'm going to breathe deeper. And the range of movement cannot come from your lower back. It has to come from your thoracic area. That's everything to do with the rib cage and your shoulders. Breathe in. And go heavy on the roller, the breath out, pulling you to the roller. Inhale. The head turns with the thoracic spine. So you keep all of the neck and the shoulder, thoracic area moving together. Last time, inhale. And then returning back. All right, your final moment then, having mobilized in a 3D connection to the spine, you're going to invite yourself to some extension. Breathe deeply in, check that the roller is under the base, the lower part, in other words, it's not on the shoulder blades, it's below them. Inhale and look at the ceiling starting to flow back. You did this when we started, but now you're more mobile. Breathe in again, breathe out, breathe in and release down as far as you go. If you're comfortable there and it's nowhere near the neck, so keep the hands to the base of the skull, the occipital bone, and you can massage by lifting your bottom up and lowering it down. Nothing to do with the lumbar spine. You could even slide your bottom against the mat to give you the sense of connection. That's how you know it's not too low. And all of the emphasis, you're able to breathe and chattering away. But if you're breathing deeply in and out and exploring how much increased range without force or bracing you can create across the upper back, the place where we naturally round, that's where the kyphosis by varying degrees occurs, and stay. Stay with your weight on the shoulder blades again, that's pushing into all of the upper back shoulder stabilisers. Exhale again, nod the chin in, breathe in, hold on to your thighs and go, oh yes, wasn't that lovely? Finally.
So we've done a lot of extension.
Extension and lengthening, largely no rounding. You're now going to do your kind of rounding through the upper back into extension. For this, the roller goes into across the mat and you go into your all fours position. I can't say, well, it's probably better to show you like this, yes. Make sure you've got a place to roll without lumpy bumpiness. I'm in hands and knees. I'm taking my hands a bit wider than my armpits are because it's going to give me more space in the shoulder. Breathing in and out. Keeping the shoulders gently away from the neck. So your prep for here is the inhale, exhale in relatively flattened or neutral spine. For the next breath out then, you'll start to roll the roller, bend the elbows slightly to take any locking out. And as you go down onto your forearms, extend forwards and rock and roll.
If you're not sure, have a look. I'm going to set it up again for you.
But you're inhaling, my armpits are open, exhaling, I'm hinging at the hip, I haven't rounded my lumbar spine, and I feel this again across the upper back. I'm going to get ready to come back up, so this is how I come up. I breathe in. Breath out, pelvic tilt, and now I start to roll the spine, rolling the roller under me, and magically I find myself back into all fours. Ready to go again. Breathe in as you prep, shoulders away from the neck. Breathing out, start to empty of air, and as you hip hinge backwards and open forwards, you end up in extension. Varying degrees off. Now, if you're already tight in the neck, let the head hang down. All of you, please, 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 please breathe. And if there's any pinching on the front of the shoulder, it's totally inappropriate, and you need to keep it more backwards than forwards. So if your shoulder's sore, because you're rehabbing, as many of you are, you would do the pelvic tilt and then the curl in the spine back and then pulling the roller back under. I'll do that again. Breathe in. Breathing out. This is where you use your pelvic floor, but simultaneously you allow the arms to stretch away. You get that lovely extension without it being too intense. And then breathe and return. From that position there, this is how we're going to come up to kneeling. I've got the roller, hands either side of the left outside my thighs, palms of the hands on the roller, breathe in.
So I'm not upright.
Right at all, so I make myself upright by pelvic tilting
and pulling that roller up
my thighs until I find myself absolutely straight here. Pull your shoulder blades away from your neck, breathe in.
Open your collarbones.
Use your pelvic floor. Don't squeeze your backside for the sake of it. And then lean back and forwards. Inhaling, backwards lean. And exhaling, forwards. No force, no pressure, upper back connection. Quads being encouraged to have a little bit more length. So once again, losing the tension that accrues in the flexors and maybe over the knee. By keeping pelvic floor and the trunk stability system, the back's having a beautiful holiday.
And let that go.
Okay, hopefully for those new to the studio as well as those that have been here forever, that is still a lovely little regime to do. And it's delivered in two parts because you can save this moment. It's short enough to do at the end of any working day, and it's meaningful to your posture. It helps the posture health, it helps the posture rehab, it helps you stop becoming what you were predestined to become without Pilates. All right, stay well, people. Make your wine choices and your food choices very careful for this weekend because that's about all there is. We'll be thinking of you as we plan for next week, and we know that next week for us here, Zoom is on the cards. I think Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Cherie's been working behind the scenes collating all the lists, and between us we'll deliver Zoom along with the rehab one-to-one requests that are being made. We will be back here very soon, so stick with it and stick with us. Bye for now.